The poor monk. He loved you more than he loved the promise of heaven.
If you believe in Noah's Ark, after the Great Flood, the whole world was of one voice, one speech, one language. They found their way to Shinar. They built this great tower. Some speculate that the Etemeniki, that was a ziggurat. It was dedicated to Marduk by Nabopolassar in 610 BC. It was later demolished by Alexander the Great. He wanted to rebuild it, but he died before they could start that project, I guess. Interesting how it explains that people of one voice built the tower and then were dispersed around the world. That's what God did to them. He dispersed them all. That's where the story of all the languages comes from. But now, interestingly enough, look at New York City, the new Freedom Tower being built on the site of the 9/11 attacks. Think about it. Many voices, instead of, people of one voice building a tower and then being dispersed, it's people of many voices coming together and building one tower. It's like almost like the opposite, like a mirror event or something. The word Sumerian could mean lands of the lords of brightness, and another phrase for it is cradle of civilization. You can also make up names like that for Manhattan or New York City in general. It's the cradle of civilization. It really is what they say, the melting pot. There's so many, everything. Every race on this earth could be found in Manhattan. Once completed, the Freedom Tower will be the tallest building in America, not the world. I wonder if they're using any recycled materials from the Twin Towers in the construction of this. Now take the Freedom Tower and let's break it down. Not into two words, not Freedom Tower. Let's break it up into thirds. Free-dom Tower. Now obviously the word free means exempt from external authority, interference, restrictions. The word dom is short for El Dominus Lord, Master. So far you got free from Lord. That's pretty interesting. And then tower, obviously a building or structure high in proportion to its lateral dimensions. Really think about this though. Plus it's going to tie into something I'm about to say in a minute. But for this Freedom Tower, to be built, the World Trade Centers had to be destroyed, right? And they certainly were destroyed. Muslims were responsible for taking those buildings down, right? But think about that. So for this building to be constructed, the other ones had to be destroyed, and they were. Now what's happening on the other side of the world? A lot of people, they're waiting for Solomon's Temple to be rebuilt. And that's supposed to usher in Jesus Christ. But on that site, there's a mosque. So they're going to have to destroy the mosque to rebuild the temple on that spot. So it's kind of interesting. Like, it might sound like poppycock, like, why would they go through so much trouble to destroy a building to build another one, but think about it. There's even websites dedicated to why Israel should destroy certain mosques. You could Google that. Look at the turmoil being created by the mosque that is going to be in the shadow of the Twin Towers or the new Freedom buildings. A lot of people mad about this back and forth, and know what's going to happen next week in New York. I already mentioned it. You probably Googled it and found out yourself. They're going to put anti-mosque signs, if you will, on New York City buses. Now, think about that for a second. When 9/11 happened, people said, how come there was no warning, like the government should have known about the plane smashing into the buildings, And lo and behold, people did speculate that way. I think as far back as like 1965, somebody said something about that, like, the buildings are going to be designed to withstand the plane hitting them or something like that. But now all these great minds, they know how terrorists think, right? Suicide bombings in trains, buses is certainly a scenario, right? And now you're putting this anti-Muslim signs on the sides of buses. It's like, are you trying to put bullseyes on them? But it bothers me even deeper than that. Never mind extremist Muslims. What if some of these groups that are anti-Muslim seize the opportunity and blow up a bomb themselves on the bus? Now, you got a bus driving down Manhattan with an anti-Muslim sign on the side of it. A bomb goes off. Who are they going to blame right away? Okay? There will be a rush to judgment. Of course there'll be. You know what I'm saying? So what are they doing? Putting these signs on the sides of buses. I don't like this. It's going to lead to some trouble. Mark my words on that. So could the Freedom Tower be the rebuilding of the Tower of Babylon? A lot of strange stuff going on around that area, you got to admit. You got to remember something very important. You might be a person that considers yourself to be quite smart. You know? You don't believe in this Stone Age bullshit, the gods, and it's all nonsense. And whether you're right or wrong really has nothing at all to do with it. But the fact remains that living amongst us in this world, there are millions and millions of people who do believe in this kind of stuff, okay? Who are willing to do anything to usher in Armageddon. You understand? All the pieces are in play, man. If you can't see it, it's really, I hate to use the word blind or stupid, but if you can't see what's about to happen, and like I said, it's going to take the smallest of events. Things are going to go so fast once it starts, you know? But I want to say something to all the Christians and atheists out there. I'm going to end this with this. That don't be too hard on atheists. You know why? Because in all honesty, all this that I'm talking about, Armageddon, World War III, all of this is not going to be anything to do with the atheist community, man. It's all going to be the religious. The religious people are going to start all this stuff. Guaranteed. You know? And again, if you can't believe that we are like a heartbeat away from like the war to end all wars, then more the pity.